Have you ever wondered what life would be like on another planet? Well, with SpaceX, this might happen sooner than you think. Elon Musk's SpaceX is constantly looking to achieve the next big thing in space travel. Now, their next mission is to conquer the red planet, Mars. One of the tools central to this mission is SpaceX's game-changing aircraft, the Starship. This begs the question, why has SpaceX chosen Mars out of all the other planets? And how will SpaceX land on Mars? Lucky you, you've come to the right place, as this video is set to answer any questions you might have concerning SpaceX's bold mission to conquer Mars. Before we get into this, let's take a little break. Here on the Space Minds channel, we give you all the juicy space secrets that will transport you into a world of thrilling adventures. So if you're a fan of rockets, galaxies, and other space-related stuff, you've stumbled on the right channel. All you need to do is hit the subscribe button to embark on this intergalactic adventure with us. Also, don't forget to hit that bell button so you don't miss any space updates on our channel. Let's start with the question we've all been thinking since we heard about this mission. Why Mars? Well, the answer isn't so far-fetched. Of all the planets in space, Mars seems to be the most suitable option for human habitation. Mercury is too hot, too small, and has days longer than its year. There's also Venus, which almost has the same mass as Earth, and an atmosphere that is mostly CO2. However, these are not the problems with Venus. The planet's density is the major challenge. Its surface pressure is 90 bar, with temperatures of about 470 degrees Celsius. That's hotter than anything we've ever experienced here on Earth. So, to avoid having humanity burned to a crisp, we can all agree that Mars was the best option for this mission. Besides its suitable human conditions, Mars is similar to Earth in many ways. For example, a Martian day is about 24 hours and 39 minutes. So if you've been wishing for more hours in a day so you can get more things done, living on Mars might be your best bet to making this happen. Did you also know that Mars has seasons similar to Earth? The only difference is that these seasons are slightly longer than what you have on Earth because the Martian year is about 1.88 Earth years. What's even better is that Mars has sufficient mineral resources and water enough to create lakes and oceans and sustain human life. But Mars is not exactly another Earth. Yes, there's one slight concern regarding the Martian atmosphere, which is thinner than Earth's and 0.7% of the Earth's total. But using the appropriate gases and with the right methods in place, it's possible to bulk up this atmosphere. So you see, Mars isn't so different from Earth. It's therefore not surprising that SpaceX picked it as their target planet. You can even view Mars as an Earth 2.0 with a red-colored theme. Let's be honest, it's one thing to have a brilliant idea, it's another to make that idea a reality. So it goes without saying that for SpaceX to have even the slightest chance at conquering Mars, they first need to figure out how to move between Mars and Earth. So far, so good. The SpaceX Starship has allowed humans to engage in long-distance and interplanetary travel. However, it'll take more than this Starship to colonize Mars because there are many other things to consider. One of them is that everything in the solar system moves in an orbit around the Sun. So it's the orbital velocity of each planet that determines its distance from the Sun. Mars is further away from the Sun than Earth, so it moves more slowly in its orbit, about 24 kilometers a second compared to Earth's 30 kilometers per second. This means that for the Starship to move from the Earth to Mars, it needs to move faster than the current orbital velocity of the Earth. This boost in speed grants the Starship a chance to rise up against gravity and reach Mars. But if the Starship also moves too fast, it risks shooting past its intended planet. So space travel is all about changing your velocity, also known as delta V, to the appropriate level. To reach Mars safely, SpaceX has divided its journey and strategy into 3 steps. Step 1. Reaching low Earth orbit. To get into low Earth orbit, Starship needs a delta V of about 9.4 kilometers per second. This is a lot of acceleration, which means that the initial launch is going to take up a lot of the Starship's fuel. After the launch, the remaining part of the journey to Mars is going to take up even more fuel, as another 9.5 kilometers per second of delta V is needed to reach the surface of Mars. So, to complete the journey, the Starship will need to stop for a refueling session in the Earth's orbit before heading to Mars. Step 2. Approaching Mars. After escaping the Earth's orbit, the next challenge is approaching Mars. SpaceX's approach to this second leg of the journey would be slightly different. Instead of immediately reaching the 9.4 kilometers per second speed again, they'll be focusing on slowing down the Starship when it escapes Earth's orbit fully. This is because while gravity and aerodynamic drag acted as obstacles during the launch, once the Starship has passed the launch stage, they will now help propel the Starship faster. So instead of trying to move faster, the Starship now has to pump its brake at the right second so it doesn't miss its turn to its desired destination. This may even be to our advantage because a fully fueled Starship in low Earth's orbit is said to have only enough thrust for 6 to 7 kilometers per second of delta V. Step 3. Landing on Mars. Once the Starship slows down and reaches Mars' moon Phobos, it would have burnt most of the fuel required to reach Mars. At this point, it'll need to be more strategic by maximizing external resources to get down to a reasonable velocity. So instead of getting down into a circular orbit, the Starship will opt for an elliptical orbit around Mars. This will help slow the ship down more efficiently and give it a smoother descent to the Martian surface. And that, spacefarers, is how we land on Mars. Once the journey to Mars is successful, the plan to conquer Mars can then begin. SpaceX's plan to colonize Mars is based on two major reasons. The first is to ensure the survival of humanity, while the second is to achieve yet another great feat by making life interplanetary. Elon Musk first announced this plan in 2016 to a crowd of aerospace experts at the International Astronautical Congress in Guadalajara, Mexico. This plan envisions taking about 1 million people to Mars to create a society where humans can live, work, and go about their daily lives similar to what we have on Earth. However, one of the major challenges is getting an intersection of two major sets of people. People who want to go and people who can afford to go. Achieving this intersection will require reducing the cost of traveling to Mars for each person. Musk believes that if they're able to reduce the cost of a trip to Mars down to the equivalent of a median house price in the US, then people will be more willing to go. This quest to colonize Mars involves building a city that can not only support the lives of the 1 million people intended to be there, but one that can also thrive independently. This means the city will be designed to generate its own power, grow its own food, and manage waste effectively. Solar power will be central to making this happen, as SpaceX plans to take advantage of the abundant sunlight on Mars. They also have a detailed roadmap that involves sending uncrewed missions for technology and infrastructure testing. If successful, the next stage will be to send crewed missions. The plan acknowledges that there are some challenges to overcome, such as dust storms and radiation exposure. However, critics believe that these challenges might be more difficult to tackle than we think. So there you have it. SpaceX has declared yet another bold mission, but this time it involves colonizing an entirely new planet. There seems to be two sides of the divide: those people who believe it's possible and those who think it's too dangerous to live on Mars. What side are you on? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Also, if you found this update helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Space Minds for all the latest space news and updates.